The alien fleet moved through space like a living wall of steel. More than 50 warships flew in perfect formation. Their hulls were covered with scars from old battles. These ships had burned worlds, crushed resistance, and forced entire species to bow. To them, this sector of space was nothing special, just another quiet route between conquered systems. The commanders were relaxed. No alarms, no threats, no enemies, only stars drifting slowly past the viewports. The fleet's flagship sat at the center. Inside, officers talked in calm voices. Some checked reports. Others watched the empty black ahead. This patrol was supposed to be easy. Humans lived far away, weak, divided, unimportant. Then something changed. At first, no one noticed. A junior sensor officer frowned at his console. Background noise was dropping. Long-range signals were fading one by one. "Sir," he said carefully, "I'm seeing interference." The commander waved a hand. "Solar dust. Adjust the filters." The officer obeyed, but the silence grew deeper. Communication pings between ships slowed. Navigation markers blinked out. Even the low hum of cosmic radiation, always present, began to vanish. This was not normal. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as systems compensated. Another officer spoke, his voice tense. "All sensors are losing passive input." The room grew quiet. The admiral leaned forward. "Explain." "We are not blind," the officer said slowly. "But space itself feels empty. Too empty." Before the admiral could reply, a sharp tone echoed across the bridge. A contact appeared. A single object. Dead ahead. The main screen zoomed in. It was a ship. Long dark. Silent. No escort. No energy flares. No active shields. Just one warship drifting in their path. The symbol beside it translated instantly. Human origin confirmed. For a moment, no one spoke. Then laughter filled the bridge. "A lone human ship?" An officer scoffed. "Out here." Another leaned closer to the screen. "It's not even responding." The admiral studied the image carefully. The ship's design was strange. Old but not weak. Smooth armor. No visible weapons. No markings. It looked less like a battleship and more like a shadow cut from space itself. "Scan it," the admiral ordered. Multiple beams reached out. Nothing came back. "No power signature," an officer reported. "No weapon charge. No shield output." "That's impossible," another said. "A warship must show something." The human ship remained still, silent. The fleet slowed. Ships adjusted formation, surrounding the lone vessel from a safe distance. The admiral smiled. "Perhaps it is damaged or lost." A communication officer activated the transmitter. "This is a third expansion fleet," he announced. "You are trespassing in controlled space. Identify yourself." No response. The human ship did not move. The silence pressed heavier now. Not just outside, but inside every mind on the bridge. Veteran officers felt it first. Something was wrong. Experienced warriors had learned long ago. True danger does not shout. It waits. Send a second message. The admiral said, "Slower now." The message was sent. Again, nothing. The human ship did not raise shields, did not power engines, did not turn. It simply remained, watching. The admiral's smile faded. Fire warning shot. Minimal power. A cruiser on the edge of the formation charged a light plasma cannon. A bright bolt flashed across space, passing close to the human ship's bow. The explosion lit the darkness. Still, no reaction. No shields flared. No movement. No response. The bridge fell silent again. The sensor officer's voice trembled. "Sir, I'm detecting something new." "What?" the admiral snapped. "A field," the officer said. "It's subtle, surrounding the human ship, spreading." Before anyone could react, internal fleet channels began to lag. Data packets delayed by fractions of seconds. Then whole seconds. Navigation systems stuttered. Weapons targeting froze. "What is happening?" someone shouted. The human ship finally moved. Not forward, not backward. It aligned, slowly turning its nose toward the heart of the fleet. Still no lights, still no sound. But every alien on the bridge felt it. Fear. Raise shields, the Admiral commanded. Nothing happened. Why aren't the shields responding? They are locked, an officer replied, panic rising. Something is overriding our systems. The human ship finished its alignment. For the first time, energy readings appeared. Not spikes, not waves, just a calm, steady line, deep and vast, like an ocean with no surface. The sensor officer whispered, "That's not a weapon charge. It's already active." The Admiral stared at the screen. "A single ship," he muttered. "What could one ship possibly do?" The answer came in silence. Because the most terrifying weapons humanity ever built did not announce themselves. They did not glow. They did not roar. They raced, and the fleet had only seconds left. The alien fleet should have reacted faster. They had crushed empires before. They had faced desperate last stands. They had survived traps and ambushes. But this was different. The human warship did not attack. It did not chase. It did not threaten. It simply existed. And that calm presence broke their confidence more than any weapon ever could. On the flagship bridge, alarms began to sound, but not loudly. They were muted, delayed, as if the ship itself was struggling to warn its crew. "We are losing control over internal systems," an officer reported. "Manual override?" the Admiral asked. Unresponsive. The Admiral clenched his claws. "That's impossible. Our systems are isolated." Another officer interrupted. "Sir, the interference is not external." The Admiral turned slowly. "Then where is it coming from?" The answer appeared on the main screen. A new layer of data unfolded. Not an attack signal. Not a hack. A presence. The human warship was not forcing its way in. It had always been there. The fleet's oldest commander, a veteran of 100 wars, spoke quietly. "This ship is not jamming us," he said. "It is replacing us." Fear spread across the bridge. The Admiral straightened. "Enough. Humanity is primitive. Their ships are crude. This is a trick." He turned to weapons control. "Prepare full salvo. All batteries." "Yes, sir." Energy surged through the fleet. Massive cannons charged. Missile bays opened. Targeting systems locked on the lone human ship. For a brief moment, confidence returned. 50 warships. One target. The outcome should have been simple. "Fire," the Admiral ordered. Nothing happened. Weapons stayed silent. No discharge. No recoil. No heat spike. Weapons control shouted, "Sir, the firing commands are executing," but the weapons refused to respond. The human ship remained motionless. The veteran commander whispered, "It's allowing us to try." As if to prove him right, the human ship sent its first signal. Not a message. A pulse. It spread outward like a ripple on dark water. Invisible. Gentle. Silent. Across the fleet, systems flickered. Shields collapsed not violently, but politely as if dismissed. Missile guidance failed. Power grids shifted. Timestamps went out of sync. Ships began drifting, their perfect formation breaking. "What did it do?" the Admiral demanded. The sensor officer stared at his screen in horror. "It asked permission." The Admiral froze. "Permission for what?" The officer swallowed. "To take control." Before anyone could speak, one of the fleet's destroyers vanished. Not exploded. Vanished. One moment it was there. The next, empty space. No debris. No radiation. No shockwave. Just nothing. Silence filled the bridge. Then another ship disappeared. Then another. Each loss happened faster than the last. The fleet erupted into panic. Emergency jump. Restore shields. Break formation. Orders flooded the channels. But none reached their targets in time. The human ship finally moved. It advanced slowly into the heart of the fleet. Still silent. Still calm. As it passed near another cruiser, that ship simply ceased to exist. Crew, metal weapons gone. The Admiral's voice shook. This is impossible. No weapon does this. The veteran commander answered softly. No weapon we know. The human ship was not destroying them. It was deciding they had never mattered. A surviving captain screamed through the emergency channel. We surrender. We surrender. The signal reached the human ship. There was no response. Another pulse expanded outward. This time, the effect was immediate. Half the remaining fleet disappeared at once. Not simultaneously, but sequentially, in perfect order, as if someone was checking names off a list. The admiral fell back into his command chair. We underestimated them, he whispered. The human ship stopped again, as if the battle bored it. Only 5 alien ships remained. Their systems were barely functional. Their crews were silent with shock. Then, at last, the human warship spoke. A simple audio transmission filled every surviving bridge. Clear, calm, human. This space was neutral, the voice said. You chose dominance. The admiral listened, frozen. You saw silence, the voice continued, and assumed weakness. The human ship's weapons powered down. The remaining alien ships were allowed to exist. For your survival, the voice concluded, remember this moment. The transmission ended. The human warship turned away and vanished into folded space, leaving only wreckage, terror, and a lesson burned into the minds of every survivor. The galaxy would hear about this, and it would never laugh at humanity again. The survivors did not cheer. They did not celebrate their survival. They sat in silence, staring at empty space where most of their fleet had once existed. 5 ships out of 50. The human warship was gone, but its presence still felt heavy, like a shadow that refused to fade. On the flagship bridge, the admiral struggled to breathe normally. His claws trembled as he looked around. Officers avoided his eyes. Some stared at frozen screens. Others whispered prayers to forgotten gods. No one spoke of revenge. They knew better now. Damage report, the admiral said quietly. A pause. Then a broken voice answered. Minimal structural damage, but our systems are altered. Core functions rewritten. We cannot undo it. The veteran commander lowered his head. They spared us, he said. Not because they were weak, but because they were done. Before the admiral could respond, a sharp warning tone echoed. Contact detected. Fear returned instantly. Location, the admiral snapped. Behind us, the sensor officer replied. Same signature. The bridge froze. Space twisted, and the human warship appeared again. Closer this time. Inside the broken remains of the fleet. No warning. No build-up. No threat display. Just presence. The admiral stood slowly. Why return? He whispered. As if answering, the human ship changed position, sliding sideways without engines, without visible thrust. It was not flying. It was moving space around itself. The veteran commander spoke again, voice hollow. This ship is not here to finish us. Then why? The admiral demanded. To show us, the commander said, what the first shot really was. The human ship turned slightly, not toward the survivors, toward the wreckage. Debris fields from vanished ships still lingered, fragments torn free before total erasure. The human ship emitted another pulse, different from before, focused. One piece of wreckage shimmered. Then time seemed to hesitate. The fragment rewound. Metal reformed. Hull plates reconnected. Systems flickered back into existence. In seconds, a destroyed alien cruiser reappeared. Oh, alive. The bridge gasped. They can reverse it? An officer whispered. The restored cruiser floated helplessly. Systems offline. Crew confused and terrified. Then the human ship acted. No beam. No blast. No explosion. The cruiser collapsed inward. Not crushed. Folded. Like paper pressed between invisible hands. Then it disappeared. Gone more completely than before. The human voice returned. This was the first shot, it said calmly. The admiral listened, heart pounding. Not destruction, the voice continued. Correction. The human ship shifted again. A projection filled every surviving bridge. Not an image, a memory. The alien fleet saw themselves, earlier laughing, firing warning shots, mocking silence. Then the view changed. Human worlds appeared. Cities, families, children, destroyed by other fleets, other empires, other warnings. This galaxy learned dominance. The voice said. Humanity learned restraint. The projection ended. The human ship powered down all active fields. We do not announce power, the voice concluded. We remove threats. The ship began to withdraw. But before it vanished, it left one final gift, a data package. The Admiral hesitated, then opened it. Schematics filled the screens. Not weapons. Rules. Boundaries. Zones. Lines no fleet should cross. If you share this, the human voice said, now distant, you will live. And if we don't, the Admiral asked, his voice barely audible. The answer came without emotion. You won't remember choosing. The human ship disappeared. Silence returned. But it was not empty anymore. It was crowded with fear. The veteran commander finally spoke. This battle will not be recorded as defeat, he said. Then what? An officer asked. A warning, the commander replied, to the entire galaxy. The Admiral stared at the stars. Humanity had fired its first shot long ago, not with weapons, but with patience. And now, the galaxy was only beginning to understand what that truly meant. The alien survivors did not return home as heroes. They returned as witnesses. Their damaged ships moved slowly through hyperspace, carrying a truth no one wanted to hear. News traveled faster than they did. By the time they reached the nearest Allied system, whispers had already spread. A full fleet, gone. In seconds. No glorious battle. No final stand. Just silence and erasure. At the first Council world, leaders gathered in disbelief. Screens filled with data, logs, and broken sensor readings. Admirals argued. Scientists shouted. Politicians demanded answers. This is impossible, one leader said. No single ship can do this. The surviving admiral stood before them, exhausted and hollow. It is possible, he said quietly. We watched it happen. They played the recordings. The silent human ship, the frozen weapons, the ships vanishing without fire. The council chamber fell quiet. A military analyst spoke next. If this is true, then our entire doctrine is obsolete. Another laughed nervously. Or the recordings are false. The veteran commander raised his head, then explained why 50 ships never returned. No one answered. Across the galaxy, the story spread. Merchant guilds changed routes. Exploration fleets delayed missions. Border patrols pulled back from human-marked space. The word silent took on a new meaning. Not weak, not empty, dangerous. In hidden human space, far from alien eyes, the warship returned to its dock. It was ancient, older than most alien empires. Human engineers watched in silence as it powered down. No celebration, no cheers, just calm acknowledgement. A commander entered the observation room. Any damage? She asked. None, an engineer replied. As expected. She nodded. How many seconds? 23, the engineer said. She closed her eyes. 23 seconds to erase a fleet that had terrorized worlds for centuries. Elsewhere, alien militaries rushed to adapt. New shields were designed. New weapons proposed. New alliances formed. But every simulation ended the same way. Silence. Defeat. One empire tried denial. They declared the event exaggerated. A myth created by frightened crews. To prove it, they sent a probe fleet toward the same region. The probes never sent data back. The empire quietly erased the mission from public record. Another empire chose diplomacy. They sent envoys to human space. The envoys waited. No response came for days. Then weeks. Finally, a message arrived. Short, clear, do not test silence. The envoys left immediately. Among civilians, fear grew. Children asked why the stars felt closer, why maps were changing, why adults whispered when humans were mentioned. In one distant system, a young alien cadet watched the recordings for the first time. He turned to his instructor. Why didn't the humans destroy everyone? The instructor thought carefully. Because destruction was not the point, he said. Memory was. Back on the surviving alien flagship, the Admiral stood alone on the bridge. Stars drifted past. The galaxy felt smaller now. He replayed the human voice again in his mind. You saw silence and assumed weakness. He understood now. Humanity had not arrived to conquer. They had arrived to end an era where loud fleets ruled, where numbers meant safety, where fear was created through noise and fire. That age was over. A new rule had been written into the galaxy. If humans are silent, listen. If humans appear, leave. And if humans speak, it is already too late. The Admiral lowered his head. These seconds, he whispered, will echo forever. Far away, in deep space, the silent human warship rested, waiting, not for war, but for those foolish enough to forget what silence truly meant. The galaxy waited. After the fleet was destroyed, after the silence spread, after fear replaced pride, everyone waited for the next human move. Nothing happened. No invasion. No expansion. No threats. Human space remained quiet. For many alien leaders, this was worse than war. In council halls across dozens of systems, arguments filled the air. They could destroy us, one leader said. Why don't they? Another replied, because they already proved they can. Some empires wanted to strike first. Others begged for peace. Many froze, unsure what action would not bring destruction down upon them. Then, one cycle later, the message arrived. Not to a single empire, not to a single fleet, to everyone. Every communication relay lit up at the same time. Every civilian network paused. Every military channel went silent. A human signal filled the galaxy. Clear, calm, unavoidable. On screens large and small, a simple human figure appeared. No armor, no weapons, just a uniform worn smooth with age. The figure spoke. This is not a declaration of war. Across the galaxy, breaths were held. This is a reminder. The message showed images, not violent ones. Human colonies rebuilding after attacks. Medical ships rescuing alien civilians. Trade stations where humans and aliens work side by side. We learned long ago, the voice continued, that survival does not come from being loud. The image shifted. Ancient human warships, outdated by alien standards, stood beside modern alien fleets, yet still intact. Others chose dominance. We chose patience. Military leaders leaned forward. The voice did not rise. Patience does not mean weakness. Then the image changed again. The silent warship appeared. Still, dark, untouched. We do not fear war, the voice said. We fear becoming what we fight. The message paused. Then came the line that would be remembered for generations. If you come to us in peace, you will find allies. The image showed human ships escorting alien refugees, sharing food, sharing technology. If you come in silence, you will be watched. The screen showed distant sensors tracking fleets without detection. And if you come in force, the silent warship filled the screen. You will be erased. The message ended. No threat, no demand, just truth. The galaxy reacted instantly. Some worlds celebrated. Some mourned lost power. Some deleted old battle plans. In one empire, a war council disbanded the same day. In another, a ruler quietly resigned. Among common people, fear slowly turned into something else. Respect. Stories spread, not of how humans destroyed a fleet, but of how they stopped. In human space, the response was quiet. No broadcasts, no speeches, only internal records closed and archived. The commander of the silent warship stood alone in the observation deck. Message delivered. An officer said. The commander nodded. Good. Will they listen? The commander looked at the stars. They already are. Far away, the surviving alien admiral watched the same message. This time, he did not feel fear. He felt understanding. Humanity had not drawn a line in space. They had drawn a line in behavior. Cross it, and silence would answer. He powered down the screen and addressed his crew. "Remember this," he said. "Power does not need noise." The galaxy changed that day, not because of destruction, but because of restraint. Because the most terrifying species among the stars was not the one that shouted the loudest, but the one that spoke once, clearly, and never needed to repeat itself. Years passed. The galaxy did not forget. Trade routes changed forever. Star maps were redrawn with quiet caution. Systems once ruled by loud fleets now moved carefully, checking borders twice before crossing invisible lines. No one wanted to meet silence again. The story of the destroyed fleet became legend, not exaggerated, not glorified, just repeated, again and again, in academies, in council halls, in whispered conversations between captains. A single phrase entered common speech across many species. "Do not wake the quiet ones." Young cadets studied old battles, but this one confused them. There were no tactics to copy, no formations to admire, no heroic charges, just an absence, and that absence terrified them. In one distant empire, a new ruler rose to power. Young, proud, hungry for legacy. He dismissed the old warnings as fear created by weak minds. "Stories," he said, "nothing more." Against the advice of his generals, he ordered a fleet toward human-marked space, not to attack, just to prove that humanity would not respond. The fleet crossed a line. Nothing happened. The ruler smiled. "See," he said, "silence." The fleet moved deeper. Still nothing. Confidence returned. The ruler ordered a broadcast. "Humanity," he declared, "you are not gods. You will be tested." The message echoed into the void. Seconds passed. Then space shifted. The silent human warship appeared. No alarm screamed. No weapons charged. No engines burned. It was simply there. The ruler's smile vanished. His generals froze. Sensors failed instantly. Time slowed. The human ship did not fire. It transmitted a single line. "We warned you." The fleet vanished, not one by one. All at once, the ruler's capital world lost contact in a heartbeat. Across the galaxy, the news spread faster than light. The line had been crossed, and silence had answered. After that, no empire doubted again. Human space became something rare in the galaxy, respected, untouched. In human worlds, life continued normally. Children grew up hearing stories of old wars, but not celebrating them. Humanity did not build statues of a silent ship. They did not name days after battle. They archived it. The silent warship returned to deep space, to its quiet patrol, not hunting, not guarding, waiting. On its bridge, the commander reviewed reports. "No further violations," an officer said. The commander nodded. "Good. Do you ever think they'll stop fearing us?" The commander looked out at the stars. "I hope so," she said. "Fear keeps them away. Understanding keeps them close." Far away, in alien space, the surviving admiral from the first encounter lived out his final year's teaching strategy. On his last day, a student asked him a simple question: "What is humanity's greatest weapon?" The old admiral smiled sadly. "Silence," he said, "and restraint." The galaxy slowly adjusted. Conflict still happened. War still burned. But no one dragged humanity into them, because everyone knew if humans arrived loudly, help had come. If humans arrived silently, it was already over. And so the legend remained. A silent human warship, a fleet erased in seconds, a galaxy that learned the cost of underestimating patience. Fear had a new name, and it was spoken only in whispers. Humanity